to be honest, I'm gonna say this. These are types of chess mistakes that y'all guys keep making. Okay? And y'all guys keep making. In this position, most of you will be like, e5 is a good move. It's defended. E5. A lot of you are gonna be like, oh, e5 is a good move. It's defended, and it's attacking the knight. But then you walk into a fork, right? Then you walk into a fork, right? But you couldn't know what was gonna do. So instead of like e5, you could play something like g4, which is pretty bad. Or you could play rook f3, which is not a bad move. Stockfish doesn't really hate rook f3. It just stops any forking. And not just that, you don't even need to play this. Actually, you don't even need, all you have to do is don't go e5. Like, don't move the pawn. Don't move this e pawn. Because when you move the e pawn, then it stops defending the fork. Okay? Another mistake, you guys, and also this is what we call, like, when you only care about what you want. You're selfish. Like, oh, he don't move knight, me take knight. Yeah. Like, that's all you think about in chess. Number 2, you accidentally hangmate. Let's say you're like this, and then I go this for some reason. Let's say this was the position. Let's say this was the position. Wait, no. Let's say like this. Like, let's just say this was the position. So this is one thing. You only look at the moves that you want to play. Only the moves you want to play. For example, lots of you are like, oh my god, queen take b4, that's a free knight. And then when you take that knight, it says maiden 1. Why? Because of queen takes g7 checkmate. So guys, you gotta always look at your opponent's move. Yes, this is a knight that's absolutely hanging, but you have to check, oh, there's a mate threat. Maybe I should do something like defend it, probably with bishop to d4, defending mate, because you can't even take this rook either, which is also a bad move. Like, let's say, like, you also get greedy. You're like, oh, that's a rook. Nope. So one very good move here could be, first, you can play queen of 6. You can also play bishop to d4, which, like I just said earlier, it like defends mate from a far position. So like that's actually a very good move because you could just accidentally hang mate, and now the position is +2 for black. And that is the next mistake we go to. The next mistake is that when you see piece, okay. For example, let's say like this was the position. You see a piece and you don't realize that it's protected. And your piece had more value than the piece you just took with that piece. And also another bad thing people do is that let's say people like let's say this is the position. What can you do here? you can fork. Now, if you go here, they just take. But then, you go here. And you have to go here. And now, you have to abandon. And you have to abandon this square. The only move is queen to g6. So you trade queens and you move the bishop. You should be and the mistake here is that you should be very careful about attacks like this. Because obviously this position is completely winning. So you don't just want to trade queens like that, and white is up material. White is up a bunch of pawns. Okay? Yeah. And I know they have a knight, but and now you have to go here. And then the position is gonna be simple. You're gonna probably try to kick this knight out, so you can kick this knight, and when that moves, attack the rook. If they go here, you move the bishop back and try to push your pawns. That should be your game plan. So, for example, let's say, not that. Let's say, you attack, let's say this. And then you got this. And then you have to move back. That's just a waste of a move. That's another thing. That's another mistake you make. You move a piece somewhere. But when you do that, they get a... But, when you move your piece there, they can give an Uno reverse attack. And it's you wasted a move. And now they gain tempo. You both gain tempo. And now you can also gain even more tempo. So you gained more time than your opponent. And if you go here, you could also go be tricky and go here, and then go here. And whatever random move, let's say this, you go here, and you're going to simplify. And then this happens, and then you go, and then this. Actually, what you can do here is this. What you can do here is just attack the rook. And if they take you... No. That's not what you do. I missed it wrong. You can go... What you can do here is go you can go here. And if they move, you can attack the knight again. And also, this is a good thing. When you have to look at follow-ups, this is a mistake in chess. When you make a move and you don't calculate your move seriously, this move is completely bad. Why? Because you could have gone here. And the thing is, you have to move the bishop back, retreat, which is just kind of bad. You should be going forward. And if you go knight here, if the knight goes here, the rook takes it. The knight goes here, the pawn takes it. The knight goes here, the bishop takes it. And the knight goes here, the rook takes it. So this, and that's why it's plus 10.9. It's plus 10.9 for white. So after rook 1, there's a kind of nice thing to do here. This is what happens sometimes. Sometimes you're like, oh, danger levels, I'm attacking the rook. This is another mistake. You're like, oh, danger levels, I'm attacking the rook. And now he's like, but this knight is just hanging. And not just that. This knight is literally still trapped. The only way to save the knight is rook b8. But you go e6. And you can't move the knight anywhere. Otherwise, you're going to lose the rook. So it's going to be very hard to make a move. In this position, there are only two legal moves that do not lose instantly, which are either King h7 and King g8. These moves are not bad. And let's say black plays King g8. It's main 13, which means you lose. But this, it's plus 8, 9, it's plus 20. But at least it's not mate. At least it's not mate. So white goes e7. It's now mate in 16. And when you make a queen here, it's actually mate in 14. This sequence definitely wins. And if you go here, you have nothing to do. You gotta sacrifice. You gotta sacrifice your rook. But after this move, you gotta play something like knight to a5 is just bad. Knight to d8 is bad too. Why? Because both of them lead to a faster mate. So, what does black play here? King g8. That queen e8 check is just completely winning, but no. What's the mate? Mate is actually c5, king h7, king f2, not king f2, never mind. c6, rook a8, rook takes b7, rook takes a2, e8, queen? No. But under promotion! e8, knight! Why e8, knight? Because after rook a1 check, king f2, rook a8, and there's two mates in 4. One of them is rook takes g7 check, king h8, knight f6, king, and main one is rook a1, rook h7 checkmate. But if you play king takes g7, rook d7 check, king to h8, rook mate, an Arabian mate. You see, the other mate was knight f6 check. And the thing is that you can't take. It's pinned to the king. If you take the knight, you lose the king. Right? So king h8. You sacrifice your rook. Sacrificing the rook for a very nice tactic. Because if they take you, rook d7 check, king h8, and rook h7 checkmate, you are sacrificing a rook and under promoting to a knight. What is this? This is another thing. This is a good thing that you should learn. That you should look at you should look at line. You should look at line. For example, and sometimes, like let's say the king was like, let's say the king was here and there was a queen here. Under promoting to a knight would be a brilliant move because that forks the king and queen. Like let's say, sometimes you have to think of under promotion. And this one is an under promotion for a mate. So the under promotion is one brilliant move. And after this, knight f6 is a brilliant move, ignoring the threat on the rook. But if that's that. But if king takes rook d7 check. And if king f8, bishop h6 is mate. If king to h7, h8, rook h7 is checkmate. This is so disrespectful. And another thing you need to know is, wait. Let me make a position. Is openings. For example, this is one opening I can help you learn. The London system. If d4, d5, bishop f4, black plays e6, we play e3, knight f6, and this is an Indian game. But not until we get close here. Because now this is what we call the London system. The London system comes from the Indian game. Now, usually they play queen b6. And now, the opening principle is to play queen c2. And now if they put their knight on c6, that's a bet. Why? Look, putting the knight on c6, it blocks the queen's protection of this. So what does black play? Bishop d7 is very common, and you play knight d2. And now it's already plus 0.1. So like it's a microscopic advantage because everything's protected. And once black makes the move, you're gonna develop. They're probably gonna play h6. H6. What h6 does is just stopping any knight g5 kind of dumbos things. But and then after, instead of playing bishop h7 check, you have to look. This is one of them I made. Like you focus on, oh, this is probably going to be close to mate, but this knight is right here, right? Yeah. So obviously, white should go bishop h7 check. No, obviously not, because I just explained it. So white should go castles, and this is already a pure London system. But if you're playing something like this, you can already start the bait. You can already start baiting. You can already start the attack because you already made the king move to a kind of vulnerable square, which is h8. And another opening I can also teach you is the Petrov defense. It starts with e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6. And this is also another opening I can teach you. And it's for black and white. In this position, white takes the pawn. Now if this happens in your game, you go here and queen e4, queen e2 happens. This is already winning. Because if you go here, that happens. If you go d5, like if you go d5, you can go here, and if your knight moves, it's +5. Why? Because of the move knight to c6. It discovered attack on the king, and the queen is getting attacked. And of course the king is in check, so it has to find a way to escape check. And even if they go here, you could just take the queen with the knight. Why? Because if you take this with the queen, it's only +0.4. And because now both of us don't have queens and stuff. Also, another thing I could tell you is there's an opening track for black. This is how it works. Starting with a Stafford Gambit. This is what we call the Stafford Gambit. White defends the pawn. Black goes bishop to c5. And then if you go bishop g4 as white, black is already -4. Why? This is a free pawn. What? Yeah, this is a free pawn. Your knight is hanging, but if they take your knight, you go bishop takes f2 check. The king can't take, otherwise the queen is going to be taken. So king e2, but then you go bishop g3, g4 check, and force the king to move. The best move is to take the bishop, and you lose the queen. If they take your queen, it's main 2. Checkmate. And if you didn't understand the arrows, I'm gonna of the knight sacrifice here. If they take this, and this, and now you're thinking, why did they take the bishop? Because when they take the bishop, this queen is just free. That queen is just free. But this just gives your opponent less time to win the game, at least. So that's why you would go king e2 first, which is probably a great move, because it gives your opponent less time. And also, if you don't find bishop g4, and maybe let's say you take the queen immediately, if you do that, you're just one knight. So yeah. And let's say black plays something like it's literally maiden 1. If you take the queen, it's +6. But if you take the queen with the queen, it's just mate. So that's why you would love to go bishop g4 and win the queen. Bye. I hope you enjoyed. But now it's time to go.